I'm Bella, the Maker Mama boss lady behind Fiber and Fox, and it has been a while. I don't even know where to start. I feel so out of practice. I feel actually nervous to be in front of the camera at this point, and I've hyped this so much in my mind that it just needs to get done, needs to happen. But yeah, I kind of dropped off the internet there for a while, kind of fell off the face of YouTube, unannounced, unexpectedly. Everything is great. Everything is fine. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably gotten a little bit of updates, but yeah, we had some major life changes occur after I last filmed, and I think August was the last time I sat down with you guys for a podcast. And yeah, I will update you on all of that. But first, I'm Bella. Like I said, I am a crochet designer. I do some crochet designing here and there. I have this podcast, and I knit also. And in 2024, I also took up sewing. Not going to talk a lot about that because I honestly don't know what I'm doing and have no business telling anyone about it. But this is going to be kind of a roundup rather than a podcast of everything that I made in 2024. Depending on how we count it, 31 items, 37 items, somewhere in the 30s. And I'm not planning on doing an in-depth breakdown. You've seen most of these items before if you have followed the podcast, but if not, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to be sure to link down below anything that I can as far as patterns. A lot of the yarns are going to be scraps and discontinued. I was doing a lot of stash busting in 2024, but anything that I can link, I will link for you below the video in the show notes. Yeah, so I'm not going to go super in-depth on anything, kind of going to just do yarn, pattern name, overall quick review of each item. And we have, yeah, a lot of knit, a lot of crochet, and a lot of different categories of finished items therein. I have a notebook on my lap, so I am going to refer to that a little bit just to stay on track because this is a lot to keep track of. And like I said, I'm super out of practice. So hang in tight, and we're going to talk about everything that I made out of yarn, knit, or crochet in 2024. I do realize by the time you're watching this, it is probably close to mid to end of January of 2025, and probably the time to put out this video would be like December 31st. Like I said, I fell off the internet in August. Real quick smush down recap of all the goodness that has been going on. We basically accidentally bought a house. That's what we tell people. So I recorded that last podcast, and then I think a week or so after, we stumbled upon a house. We knew we were going to be moving eventually, just some space and kids and all that, bedroom availability and whatnot. We knew probably in the next 5 to 7 years we were going to be moving, and we had kind of a list going of what we'd be looking for in land and bedrooms and acreage and stuff. And my husband had some alerts on Zillow for like several years, and stuff would pop up, and we'd be like, no, not doing that. No, that's not going to work. Not a good location, whatever. Shut it all down, one way or the other. And something popped up in August that we were like, oh, that's good. Should we go look at that? And we were in no state of being ready to sell our house, move, nothing. So yeah, we went and looked at this house, and I don't know if you can tell I'm in a different location because it's pretty much the same bookshelf set up behind me. Maybe at some point I'll do a room tour, but yeah, we bought a house that we were not planning on buying. And by the grace of God, it all came together. But within the span of, I think it was like 62 days, we were wrapping up renovations that we thought we had another 5 years to work on at our previous home, listing that, buying this one, moving, just a whole fiasco, a really good fiasco, but just so out of the blue. And yeah, so that's where I disappeared. And then by the time I felt kind of settled in like mid-November to be able to sit down and chat with you guys, I was like, Vlogmas is coming up, and I usually get kind of drowned out because I don't do Vlogmas. With like the daily videos, there's just so much content out there in December in the fiber arts world that I was like, I'll hold off until the end of December. And then we got sick over Christmas, and now it is, I believe, January 12th of 2025. So welcome back, me. Welcome back, me. Here I am. If anyone remembers who I am, I appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy just this recap, because I honestly don't think I could sit down and film a podcast at this point, because I have so many like finished objects that you've never even seen in projects going into 2025 that are partially, like, it wouldn't make sense to podcast. So I think I am going to jump back in with the podcasting. I cannot promise any regularity at all at this point. Life is what it is. I previously was doing pretty well back in end of summer. Every other week is what the schedule should have been. But yeah, it's been months. So I'm going to try to stick with you a little bit, get back into that as much and as often as I can, but no promises. Like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. That'll help. But yeah, I just have this whole notebook on my lap in front of me, and I'm going to try to reference it as little as possible, but I do need to stay on track here. So I have 31 items. I think we just start with number 1. I think I mostly have these in chronological order. I have kept a notebook throughout the year. I'm not one to do Ravelry project pages, so I cannot refer you there. I am sorry. But if you have any questions about any particular patterns or anything, like I said, I will link them below with any pattern details that I do have. But as far as sizing, needle size, I don't have that information for you. I'm sorry. Do a gauge swatch. If you have any questions, I would be happy to chat with you in the comments. All right, up first, we're going to go speedy quick. This is super soft. This does not fit me, so I cannot put it on. I think I have modeled shots of a lot of these items, not all of them, but this you can probably imagine. This is a cowl. And it is a modified version of my Infinity and Beyond scarf, which is a loop scarf. And it doesn't have a cowl version, but you could very easily shorten the stitch count. This is some yarn that I'd had in stash for just like forever. I think I bought it when my daughter was a baby, and she's 6 now. I bought it at a local yarn store that does a big clearance sale where everything's like 75% off. I don't know if this is discontinued, but it was Debbie Bliss Iris. I don't remember the colorway, but it's a very cotton candy pink, and it was a cashmere blend, so it is just so soft. So this is a really soft cowl. My daughter doesn't like anything scratchy next to neck. And the cool thing about this stitch pattern, this is crochet, by the way, one of my designs. And the cool thing about the stitch pattern is it has this very knit-like look on the front, but then the back it has this almost like pebbly looking different texture entirely, so it can be reversible as well. Like I said, it is a loop scarf pattern, but easily modified into a cowl if you wanted to do a little bit of cowl modification. So I will link that below. And I guess I should say real quick, we're going to talk about this one. This was my favorite make of 2023. And sadly, in Christmas-ish of 2024, myself, can't even blame my husband or anybody else, I put it through the washing machine. Not only the washing machine, but the dryer. So I think I have a picture of before and after. It still fits, but as you can see, it is now cropped. I did the soak it in conditioner and try to stretch it out as much. It came out my daughter's size, which would be like a cool heirloom piece, I guess. But she's not super, it's very soft, but like she's not super into woolly sweaters, and she also runs really hot, so even getting her to keep a sweatshirt on is well nigh impossible. But this is the Solvi by Jennifer Steinguest, and it is just my favorite, and I am so devastated that I shrunk it. It still fits. It like, I can wear it, but it's more cropped now, and it was before like just really slouchy and nice. So that is a tragedy. Mourn with me. I'll probably make another one in 2025. All right, so now we're getting into Scarfie Shawls, which is one of the ones that I'm wearing. I have 3 to show you, and I should have grabbed one more, but I have pictures. So we'll just go through these real quick. The Scarfie Shawl is a pattern of mine that I launched in the beginning of 2024. It is a long end-to-end, this could probably use a blocking, but an end-to-end scarf that starts skinny at the end, increase, 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 until you've used half of your yarn, decrease, decrease, decrease. And it's a really good one if you want to do some weighing of your yarn to use up any skeins that you have. And I have information in the pattern for kind of doing it in any yarn weight that you'd like. The one that I'm wearing is DK weight, and it is yarn that I dyed with shagbark hickory nuts and modified with iron. So this is a nice gray. So this is the DK weight. This is the fingering weight. We're going to see this yarn again at some point in the pile, but this is the original one. This is Fiber for the People in the colorway Chili. And again, it's a very kind of knit-ish looking ribbing with some eyelets look. I'll pop in pictures of them modeled. But that's the fingering weight version. I made a bulky weight version for my daughter out of discontinued unavailable yarn that I'd gotten from Knit Crate when Knit Crate was still a thing. And this is like a lilac alpaca blend. Like I said, I don't use a ton of bulky weight yarn, but we made her a nice thick version in this. And then there's also an option to make either a little tiny single tie scarf for your neck or use it as a headband. So my daughter has a bright blue headband as well, and that yarn is from a local Connecticut dyer who is no longer dyeing. cup of tea yarns, and I believe it was an indigo dyed. She was a natural dyer. So yeah, I have a whole stack of Scarfie Shawls. That brings us to number 5 in the pile. So technically all the same pattern, but different yarn weights, and I made a bunch of them. And that was a really fun, I think that's the only pattern I launched in 2024. Like I said, the pattern designing has been sporadic since the arrival of my second child, and I'm just trying to figure out stay-at-home mom, homeschool mom, crochet designer, kind of delving into homesteading, that whole thing. So just trying to figure out my life, basically. But I made a lot of Scarfie Shawls. All right, that brings us to a garment. I don't think I'm going to do a big pause in between each one of these because I'm talking about them for such a short period of time. But this one we'll probably talk about for a tiny bit longer. So this was started in 2023. This was kind of my passion project. The yarn was started in 2023, and throughout the year I was working on collecting a rainbow-ish of naturally dyed yarns from basically our own yard or like food scraps. And I dyed up an entire Advent-ish set that I could then do an Advent project with. And when Rebecca Clow of the Crochet launched the Daft cardigan, I knew that that would be the perfect use for my naturally dyed rainbow. I can link an episode below where I talk about all of these colors in detail because that's going to take too long. But I dyed all of these colors at home with things that I grew basically. And I think, oh no, those are two different. I said this was hickory, but this might actually be balsam fir modified with iron. This one's hickory. And then a various rainbow breakdown. This is a DK weight cardigan. And it might maybe not the best color story for me as far as seasons and whatnot, a little more pastel-y, but I love it, and I'm really proud of this, and anytime that I wear it and people are like, oh, did you make that? I'm like, yes, and I dyed all of the yarn. Not something that I regularly do. I'm not a dyer, but I do really enjoy natural dyeing. So just quick look. Has a beautiful texture to it, and it was just really fun to play. These were fingering weight skeins that I then held double, and it has these gorgeous buttons by my friend Lori of Fiber in Mud. They're ceramic, just to make it even more special. And yeah, I get quite a bit of wear out of this for something that is rainbow striped, but it's just really beautiful, and probably one of the things I'm most proud of in 2024. Even though I think I technically started at Christmas of 2023, we're counting it for 2024 because that was when it was finished, but it was kind of a project that carried through 2023 into 2024. And it still looks really good. Like, the yarn is held up. These are actually all superwash, but pilling and whatnot, it's done well. So that is the Daft cardigan by the Crochet. As part of, or several parts of my 31 items, there are socks, but I've traditionally always done a box of socks roundup at the end of each year as well. I didn't get just a ton of sock knitting done this year. I think I have like 6 or so pairs, and I lost my size 1 sock knitting needle somewhere in the moving process, so I need to reorder some of those. But I think I'm going to do the socks separate. So there is a pair of socks. There's actually 2 pairs of socks that are made with the remnant hand-dyed rainbow yarn, because if you're going to hand dye a naturally dyed rainbow, you're going to use all of it. 2 pairs of socks that then are made with remnants, but we'll come back to those if you're interested. I do have a whole several, I think 3 or 4 years of box of socks, and if I get to filming another one, you'll get to see those socks from 2024 as well. So we're going to jump now. We're going to be on number 9. This one I feel a little guilty about because it's a design. Did I publish it? No, I didn't. So that's on the agenda for spring of 2025. But this is the Make Your Own Meadow Shawl, which looks like just kind of chaos at a distance. But this is a beautiful, really special couple of skeins of yarn that my parents had gotten me in England on a trip, I think before my daughter was born. So I'd been holding on to those for a while. And if you've been around here for any length of time, you know that I love what I call the dandelion stitch. I have a whole bundle on Ravelry of patterns that I have designed using dandelion stitch, which is a modified daisy or star stitch. You're going to see it come up again. You'll probably be able to look at it a little bit better in the other designs because this one is definitely more chaotic. Normally I would go with a more neutral yarn to really let the stitch shine, but this one, my intention was for it to look like a field of wildflowers flowers where you can't really tell where one individual flower begins and ends, and it's kind of just like that speckly, not quite like watercolor or Monet, but just like, I'm trying to think of an artist to compare it to. I should probably come up with one. But my inspiration was like actual photos of fields of wildflowers. So make your own meadow shawl. It's got this pretty leafy border, and this yarn is by Ching Fiber. I have no idea if it's still available, but it was a single ply called Shangri-La in the colorway Ember by Ching Fiber, and my parents had gotten it in London, like I said, 6-7 years ago. So probably not available, but this is one that when I do launch the pattern, I'm going to make sure I have details in there about picking skeins that would be ideal for this, but something with a speckle or something with really short color breaks so you're not getting striping or like chunks of color. This yarn had just like little bits of color all throughout, which I think really contributes to the beautiful meadowy-ishness, meadowy-like meadow qualities of this shawl. So it's an end-to-end. Are the ends woven in? No, they're not, because I wanted to make sure once I got it tech edited, nothing needed to change, and I wouldn't wear it over a existing scarf, but it's a little shawl. Stitch markers and all, still in there. Designed this in spring of last year, and then didn't do anything with it. It's kind of fun with my color work. But make your own meadow. It's coming, hopefully, maybe. We'll see. Hold me to it. Somebody remind me. Number 10, there's going to be 2 amigurumi in this roundup, breakdown, recap, whatever we're doing, and they're both residing upstairs in my son's room, and he is asleep. One is sleeping with him, and one is in his closet, so they're not going to be pictured. And this is something that I'm proud of. This is just something that I made kind of to be funny, and it was like sitting in a dump truck on Easter. His name is Diaper Changing Chicken. If I can find a picture of Diaper Changing Chicken, I will put him in. He's a really stupid looking, kind of platypus-esque duckling that, it's a long story. It's something my family owned. My parents have it at their house. It's not crochet. It's like a Happy Meal toy or something. Really dinky, weird looking duck chicken platypus thing that has lived in their changing table for some of their children, and now my children like associate it with like, we're gonna go play with Diaper Changing Chicken and get diapers. My kids aren't even in diapers at this point, but when I made it, my son was, and I crocheted a Diaper Changing Chicken. He's really stupid and not even really cute because the original isn't cute either, but I made that. We're gonna skip over him. We're on a chicken kick. Somewhere in spring of 2024, I believe. There was a video, I think TikTok, Instagram, I'm not sure, something that went viral of someone making chicken coasters. And it's one of those things, like every year there's some sort of thing that everybody sends me. Like there was one year it was like those shawls with, or the scarves with the hand pockets. I'm trying to think of other things. I don't know. There's always something that circulates around that people who don't crochet send me and are like, you could crochet these. I got several renditions of chicken coasters sent to me. I forget who they were by originally. I will make sure to link that pattern below. But my cousin who owns chickens, we regularly pick up eggs from her when she has a surplus, and she was like, I usually trade garden produce and stuff with her, and we got like a little swap thing going, and she was like, hey, would you crochet me these chicken coasters? Sure, you want to give me eggs? I will crochet you chicken coasters. So just out of some scrap, I believe it was mostly Hobby Lobby I Love This Cotton scraps, I made chicken coasters, and I also made a chicken like hot pad pot holder to go with it. And this is where the count gets thrown off because I technically made 6 chicken coasters, but they're like a set, so I wasn't sure how to count that, and then the one hot pad as well. So technically 7 items, but I counted the coasters as one, like you would count a pair of socks as one item and not 2. But a whole set of little chicken coasters for my cousin, and yeah, they're really cute. I think I modified in the pattern how to make the larger hot pad one. I don't remember if there was a pattern in there for that. But yeah, the chicken coaster was easy. Just kind of tedious to have to sew like all the ends in and attach little beaks and whatnot. Kind of more tedious than maybe you'd want a coaster to be, but not hard. Very simple pattern, very cute. And if you know somebody chickeny, chicken coasters. So now finally we'll get to one of the items behind me. This is a cardigan that I designed it myself for my daughter, but I didn't publish a pattern and have no intention to. My daughter gets a lot of one-off special items just because she's really fun to make for. I did use a blog post that taught how to do this. It's like a modified, they call it African flower, but I remember the African flowers, again, when they were viral and everyone was making like those hippos. Were they hippos? Out of the Africa, they were like hexagons or octagonal. So these are like African flower, granny square, circular. I don't know. I will link the blog post for you. But basically, I made a whole bunch. Ooh, it's really fun. It's so fun. A whole bunch of granny squares with this motif. And I was using all scrap, mostly cotton and cotton blend, cotton bamboo blends of yarn that I had left over from various projects. These are kind of special because this yellow, this purple, one of the grays, and one other color. What's the other color? Basically, they're from my daughter's like infancy baby blanket, the Be Brave baby blanket, which is my only knit pattern. It's available in my shop, that I designed before my daughter was born. And then some of these are from her brother's baby blanket, this yellow, gray. I don't think I used the green or the blue here. But yeah, this is just a lot of cotton scraps, mostly in a discontinued yarn that was by a company called Fair Isle Yarns, which was a weird choice because it was mostly cotton yarns, which isn't for Fair Isle Knitting. They went under. They're not a company anymore, but it was available at Joann for a little bit, and I had done some collabing with them. So I had a bunch of their yarns. So I did that, and then the main body, I guess, is main color is Hobby Lobby Soft and Sleek DK, which is actually a fingering weight. There are two different dye lots. I don't know if you could tell. The ribbings are more of a yellowy toned ivory, and then this is more of a true white. And yeah, I was just winging it on all of this. Regrets that I have are I only made full size grannies, so it's a drop shoulder, but I wish that I had done some like half grannies, and I don't think that was available in the blog post, but I probably could have figured out how to have done it. But by the time I used up all the yarn, I was like, probably should have done some neck shaping kind of thing, so it's not just like a straight rectangle across your neck. So what I ended up doing was some short row-esque thing that I added after the fact, so it's not really like a short row. After I had connected all of the granny motifs, some short row type thing to raise the back neck, and then kind of shaped the collar around it. But all of the finishes, the ribbing, is knit, and then the sleeves are crochet, and it's got this cute little rainbow bright, like, it reminds me of a hacky sack. Something about striped single crochet tightly done. It reminds me of a hacky sack, 90s. Crochet, and then, again, ribbed cuffs. And the buttons were something in stash from probably Joann. And yeah, I don't have a name for this. It's not going to be a pattern. I'm probably not ever making another one, but my daughter is super cute in it. So that exists, and I can't get it back up there. Okay, it's going to go over there now. We've already talked about it, but we're calling that the Scrappy Granny African Flower Cardigan. Another item that I failed to grab from my children's rooms while they are sleeping is I made, with the scraps that I had from that held, I think triple, I made a little crossbody rectangular purse for my daughter to bring to church with her chapstick and put her little memory verse cards in, and whatever little girls love a purse, right? So I made a little purse that has a matching button and just marled yarns held together with a little crocheted strap. It's got a pen pocket, and she brings it to church pretty much every week since, so that was a success. Don't know if I have a picture of that one. I maybe can go take one, but I regret I did not bring that down to show you, so I'm sorry, but it matches the cardigan, and it's very cute. I did a pretty decent job this year of taking notes on what I made, but I didn't always, if it wasn't like a big project, I didn't always photograph it, and this I don't think got photographed, and it was gifted. So I made a pair of gray marled, kind of bulky weight. I modified the pattern, which I will tell you in a moment, of baby booties for a friend who was pregnant, and those have since been gifted and outgrown, but it is a pattern. I think it translates to baby house sock, and it's one of the first one that comes up on Ravelry when you type in like free baby booty. I will put the name here, and it's by Innistrict, which I think is Norwegian. But she has it on a blog. It's free, and it's in, again, I believe Norwegian. another language, but then you can translate it into English, and it's pretty easy to follow. And it's, I think, worsted weight originally, but I've kind of modified the sizes by doing bulky and messing around with needle gauge and all that. It's pretty easy once you've made it to mess with the pattern if you want to do different sizes, but I think there's only one size available in the pattern, and it's kind of like a newborn booty. But this was a baby that was being born in the summer, so I kind of bulked it up a little bit and made it more fall size. And he was wearing them at my house when he came over in December. So good job me. They fit him in the winter. And there's going to be another pair of those mentioned in here as well. And I've made them before. It's one of my favorite baby shower makes because it's really easy to do scrappy stuff. And they're quick and they stay on pretty good because they have a really tight ribbed ankle. So I will show another pair of those in a moment. But now let's go back to some garments that I actually have here with me to talk about. I think this brings us, I should date these next time when I write them down. I just numbered them, but I think I should date them throughout the year as I make things. If I go back through podcast notes, I could figure it out, but this brings us to about June, early July of 2024. This is the Two-Faced Tank by LCK, I think, crochet. I will link it again. This is a, I don't remember if it's a free pattern. I don't usually make other people's crochet patterns just because I feel very confident in being able to wing designs on my own. With a lot of years of crochet experience. Knitting, I am still not very good at like how to make a certain shape. I've been actually knitting longer than I've crocheted, but crochet I just have much more ability to manipulate, I guess, into exactly what I want. But this pattern caught my eye. I was looking at that time to not really be thinking about doing any math and grading and whatever, and I just wanted to make a pattern, use some yarn and stash. And this caught my eye. And I was like, oh, that's a really pretty stitch pattern. As it turns out, I have made, I have designed, again, a pattern that I never published. I really should dive into those in this keeps riding up because I shrunk it. Dive into those in 2025 and actually get them published. I have like a long Ruana thing that uses this stitch pattern. And that's why I like it. It's almost the same color as this too, like a burnt orangey brown. But this was some, I think probably again discontinued, same 75% off sale at a local yarn store. It is Taki Yarn, Stacy Charles, Nina in the color, I don't remember. But it's a 77-23 cotton linen blend. And I don't know if this was the right choice for this tank. It's really cute. I really like the color. I ended up making it like 2.5 times because it's worked. You start at one front seam, work all the way around, you make the straps, you keep going around, and you end up at the other. This is really hard to hold up. I should have brought a mannequin, I'm sorry. But basically it's worked from here, around, back to here, and you're working up and down, which is kind of an unusual construction to then have to try to figure out sizing and trying on. So the first time I made it, it was way too wide, and then the second time I made it, I like skipped one of the straps. There was a lot of reworking. But this construction grew on me because then I did later things. I did more things later in the summer with a similar construction. But this one gave me a lot of fits. And in the end, it's wearable. But the cotton linen blend, and this is kind of like a chain sort of yarn. I can't really tell. But it's not plied. It's like a chainette kind of thing. And it's pretty heavy. And this definitely wants to grow. And I didn't do myself any favors. Again, I did really beautiful buttons by my friend from Fiber in Mud. And they're all a little different. They have like imprints in them. And they're just really beautiful. But again, they're very chonky, ceramic, heavy buttons. And on a natural fiber tank, it just wants to kind of pull forward and kind of just grow in all directions and schlop and drape everywhere. So this is one that's like okay if I wear it over a dress or something, but it's not like, it's kind of full length. I didn't really make it cropped. I think I added the ruffle. Yeah, this is the same pattern from the Make Your Own Meadow edging. I added that, but yeah, it just kind of wants to hang weird in all of the wrong ways. So even though I remade it to fit better, it's just grown, and I don't know if maybe throwing it in the dryer occasionally would help it out, but it's just too heavy. It's very, very heavy for a tank top pattern. It weighs more than this sweater. So just, yeah, trying to use stash yarn, but sometimes it's not always the best fit. Like the pattern, I chose the wrong yarns. That, however, did kick off a sort of end-to-end around, start in the front, work around, make straps, all one piece, seamless tank top knitting festival. So I made 2 more. These are, again, my own design, but not something that I am planning on publishing as a design, at least not at this point, because as you can see, I'm not even having success with the designs that I'm supposed to be publishing. This was just a selfish make, again, to do some stash busting. And this one, again, may be the wrong yarn choice. This was what, actually, all 3 of these tanks are from that same yarn store clearance. They do it twice a year, 75% off, and then it's like fill a bag for 30%. I get some good yarn that way, but it's usually discontinued. So this is, I can try to look up what it was. I don't remember. I didn't write it in my notes, but it was 100% silk, and it has that weird silky, it's kind of dissipated over time as I've washed and blocked it a bunch of times, but silk has this weird fishy smell to me, which I haven't heard anyone other than just recently, aka Nora Knits, was talking about it, and I think she described it as not fishy. I can't remember what she described it as, but I was like, yes, yes, silk yarn smells weird. So I felt really acknowledged there because nobody seemed to think it smells weird. And I don't know why my radiator is making that sound. I apologize if you can hear that. This is 100% silk yarn. This is, again, that dandelion stitch that I love, but it's worked top to bottom for the construction of this tank. So you're working your way around. This one fits pretty cute. And in the pictures that I have, it probably looks better than it does now. Again, it's really cute over a dress. I was wearing it with skirts. And it probably could be worn as like a vest thing, but I'm not really a vest person. But this one, the silk yarn, again, it's much lighter, but it again wants to grow. So silk yarn, it's very nice, it's soft, it's pretty. It's kind of not, I don't know if you can see, got some pilling going on. It was a pretty expensive yarn to begin with, but because I got it on clearance, it was very attainable. But I don't know that I would purchase it again, just because there's a lot of like little itty bitty pills. I didn't write down any notes on this one, and then I made a second one that fits better, but this one is just growy, stretchy. And the buttons are all random little tortoise-shelly vintage buttons from my collection. I wore this a lot, and originally it was a dense enough fabric that I didn't really have to wear anything underneath it, but now, as you can see, it's kind of stretched out more, so I don't know. I really liked it, but frustrated with the yarn choice. So I think I'm definitely learning that I like woolly wool yarns. Maybe not super woolly, like I'm not a, I don't know, lopey person quite yet, but I am much preferring wool yarns over superwash wools. I don't know what summer fiber I am. I struggle with summer fibers, but I want handmade things all year round. So I don't know. This one behaves a little better. So this is another version. I made it smaller than the first because I knew that one grew, and this is 100% cotton. This is another discontinued, actually shut down yarn brand, Shibui Fern in the colorway Tar from that same yarn shop. And this one, for whatever reason, does kind of hold its shape. I think I did the button bands differently on these two. As you can see, this one is a sort of slip stitch button band, and then this one I actually did a crochet ribbing, and I did rounded edges on the front, so it kind of splits and rounds there, which I think is a really pretty detail. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's slightly thicker. I think this was supposed to be, I think that one was listed as a DK. The yellow, it's definitely not. It's maybe a sport weight. And I think this one was listed as a sport maybe, and it's more towards a DK. So this is a denser fabric, but it's cotton and it's breathable, and I clearly need to block it and wash it because it's got deodorant on the armpits. So I'll work on that before summer. But these are all vintage buttons again, and this one just overall is probably the more wearable of the 3 end-to-end tanks that I made. But yeah, this one's quite more cropped because I was anticipating it growing, so this one I definitely have to wear over a dress or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll get it right this year. I'm sorry I keep looking off camera. I'm just trying to collect my thoughts, and I haven't done this in a while, so thank you for your grace, and hopefully I get back in the swing of things. We got a couple more to go. Another tank. This one I don't think I have modeled shots in because I was kind of disappointed with the outcome. This is the Sailor Swift top, and I had heard people speak so highly of this, and it just looks so cute. It's by Katova Kika, and she does write amazing patterns. And I really like the yarn. This is that same gray from the tank I just showed you. This is a mill end from Green Mountain Spinnery, so that's actually wool. That's 100% cotton, and then this is a cotton bamboo left over from the Ruana that I designed that I was talking about. This is Hobby Lobby Bambootiful in the color Cognac, which I think is still available. Last I checked it was. But I had all of this in stash, and I was like, oh, I don't really know what this color combo is, but I think it's cute. And this was like my vacation project. And it definitely creases bad when you fold it in a drawer. My goodness, this needs to be blocked. But my thought with this is that it would be a really nice staple tank that I could easily wear without having to layer it. I could wear it with shorts. I don't have to wear it over a dress. It's kind of just the right length. But as you can see, I haven't woven in the ends, and I'm one of those people that I definitely weave in my ends. I'm considering taking out where there is I-cord and doing some modification there. This has kind of that, I don't know what the cut is actually called, almost racerback, but not quite. Kind of a sporty, kind of curves in on the shoulders tank top rather than a straight strap. And I'd heard people say that it would cover a bra strap. I am very much a wear a normal bra with a normal strap kind of gal. I don't want no fancy high maintenance bras. I was really hoping this would cover a strap, but it kind of cuts in too much at the back. You can see the shape. It's kind of begging for a racerback sports bra kind of thing. And I was disappointed there. And I don't want to see the straps in the back, and I don't want to have to layer it. It's a nice thick fabric. This is mostly DK weight yarn, and I could definitely get away with wearing nothing underneath it, but nothing being an additional layer. But yeah, it just didn't quite work out. And there's I-cord around the edge and the underarm. And I'm pondering taking those out because I feel like if I added I did ribbing along the bottom edge. I don't think that's what it called for in pattern, but I was worried the I-cord would be too taut because I've done I-cords around my waist before, and it's just kind of doesn't have any give to it. So it either flared out weird or pulled in weird. So I went with ribbing on the bottom. And I did... Is this a tubular bind off? I believe so. A sewn tubular bind off, which I think is what was called for in the pattern, but this also doesn't have a lot of give to it. So all of the finishes I might redo with something else and just kind of make it into more of a vest with maybe a thicker band of ribbing. I have plenty more of this brown yarn, so that might be something that I modify this summer if I'm feeling ambitious. It's definitely wearable, but right now it's something that I would wear like in the fall with a cardigan over it, rather than as a summer tank. So Sailor Swift top tee, Sailor Swift top. Good pattern, but I don't know. I just didn't quite execute it right, or at least what I thought it was going to be. I think that ends our tank top spree though. Yes, thank you for staying with me through all of my summer knits. We're getting into fall knits now. I think this brings us now to where we left off in the podcast. I don't remember if that one was finished, but I know the day that I took the finished photos for this item is the day we put the offer on the house. So this was in the works when I last talked to you, if not finished. This is the Albina by Caitlin Hunter of Boylan Knitworks. This is also a cotton linen blend yarn, but I was really pleasantly surprised with this one. A really budget friendly, but I've worn this a ton. It does pill some, so this needs a bit of a shave, but it's not terrible, and it's on the heavier side, but not heavy like the chain one. This is something, I don't know if it's still available because it was one of those yarns that Joanne had for like 7 minutes, which is what they do. They always introduce these new yarns. They're like in little baskets in the ends of aisles. You grab the colorways you want real quick because you know they're not going to be there next time. So this one was called Patton's Linen. I'm a fan of Patton's yarn. Patton's Linen, I don't know, I think I have a skein actually still. I don't remember what the breakdown. It was called linen, but it's not 100% linen. It's actually mostly cotton. Patton's Linen, 65% cotton, 35% linen. And it was only available for a tiny minute. I don't know if it'll come back again summer or if you could order it from like the Patton's website. But the colorway was sweet potato. Doesn't look like a sweet potato at all. It's brick red. I got between a terracotta and a brick. But really, really enjoyed this, and I'm planning on, since I love the fit so much, and I don't know which yarn I do it in necessarily, but I would like to very much make some summer tees in this because it's just a really nice drop shoulder fit, and I would like to play around with having more of these in my wardrobe, especially because I'm trying to work off of patterns that I already have rather than buying new ones. This one was great. I don't know that I've made any other. I made the Tegna by Caitlin Hunter. I don't think I've made any long sleeve sweater patterns by her, but great patterns, obviously very popular. Yeah, I love this one, and I don't think I have anything else to say about it, but it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I love it. I wear it a lot. I think this color looks nice on me. Big fan of that one. This is the point also where I realized that I had skipped writing down, at least I may have skipped more. There could be more finished items, but I think I skipped a pair of items that I gifted to the same cousin with the chickens. Her daughter was turning 1, so she's like my second cousin once removed or something, but kind of think of her more as a niece. And I had made her a Topaz cardigan by the Velvet Acorn, Heidi May. It's one that I had made my daughter around the same age, and I thought it would be cute if I made her one. And I also made a little matching vintage dream bow by Woodland Stitchcraft. So it's a little lacy bow. I made a cardigan. It's a little matching outfit, and it's all naturally dyed yarns that I had in my stash. I think I have pictures. I'll put them up, but that throws off my count of how many items I had. So I need to fix that in my notes. But back on track. This, if you've been on Instagram with me, you've probably heard about it by now. But this is my throwback by Drea Renee Knits. DRK. Drea Renee. Oh my goodness. Drea Renee. Andrea Mowry. You know her. Again, I kind of did 2 popular designers back to back. I usually tend to try and branch out into designers that not everybody is knitting and making, but this is an older pattern. That was a brand new pattern. This is an older pattern that I have been wanting to make just forever and just didn't have the yarn that I wanted to do it in, and I just love it. I love the effect of this. This is actually mostly all yarn that I thrifted in the summer, July. And I got, if you were with me, I think it was either the last podcast, maybe the second to last podcast, big old like queen comforter size bag at a local thrift store. Just all sorts of yarn scraps. Some full skeins, which is what this main color blue was. But just a whole bunch of random, really woolly yarn scraps. And right now I'm actually working on making, for 2025, making a granny square cardigan similar to the one I made for my daughter, but different. I'm actually using a pattern for this one. We'll talk about it in the podcast. But I used up all the woolly scraps there, but I started with this throwback. And the thought on this one, if you've been on Instagram, the thought on this one is that I was going to make this for myself and then kind of plan every year we do Christmas photos or a family photo shoot, and then we end up using them for Christmas cards. They're not really Christmas photos. But a family photo shoot, and then that kind of all got derailed with the move. And we ran into some issues with Yarn Chicken. So I got the body of the sweater done. I don't know if you can tell, but there is definitely 2 different dye lots going on here. So I got the whole color work, this whole section. Like I said, I don't know what these yarns are, but they were just all really woolly, beautiful 2-plies. The only modification that I did, I think, to the pattern is there's only supposed to be 1 shade of color here, and I have 2 different yellows, and I think it looks really cool. I really love that mustard yellow. Is my favorite one. And I think my floats look pretty good too. This is my first time doing color work flat. This is not a steeked design. You're knitting and purling color work. First time I did that, and I think it came out pretty good. But the issue we ran into was Yarn Chicken. So I had thrifted, these are now the purchased skeins. This is going to avalanche. Oh no. Okay, good. Pulled it off. I thrifted a bunch of this Lana Grossa Bingo, which I had assumed was discontinued. I hadn't seen it before, but according to the pattern and gauge and all of that, I should have been okay. Should have been okay on yarn, but then I wasn't. I ran out of yarn. I think I made the ribbing slightly shorter than was called for. And I was like, okay, I can work with that. And then I was able to find through, I think it's Lind Hobby, the furnace kicked on. I'm in a basement now. I didn't mention that. There's probably more sounds than there was in my previous office, but this is our new setup. What was I saying about this yarn? I had found through Lind Hobby, which is a website that carries European yarns, and I had heard good things about it. And I'd heard that their shipping was fast and that they carried all these yarns that you might not be able to find in the US. So I found it on there, and it said, okay, 1 to 3 day shipping. Not like we'll deliver it in 1 to 3 days, but it will ship in 1 to 3 days. So I ordered a quantity that I thought I would need to finish off just the front ribbing and the collar. It's not really a button band. There's no buttons. It's open front. So I had this chunky ribbing and a collar. I really only needed one more skein. But I was like, okay, at that point it was the beginning of October. And I was like, okay, I can order more and then make a matching sweater for my son, a hat for my husband, all these coordinated little outfits for a photo shoot. Ordered it at the beginning of October. They emailed me and they said, oh, this isn't one that we actually stock. We have to get it through a supplier, Lana Grossa, which I think is German. Have to get it through the supplier. And I already knew I probably wasn't getting the same dye lot. I had put in the notes and they were like, no, we don't have that dye lot. And I was like, whatever, it's a gamble. I'm going to have to try because I have to finish the cardigan at this point. And I don't have any other yarn in stash that would look even reasonable. So I was like, okay, I will order. There was like a bulk discount. If I think I ordered like 10 of these and I only really needed one. With the intention of making matching garments, accessories for my whole family so that we were matchy-matchy. So I said we have to order it from the supplier. It's going to take 5 to 7 days for it to ship out. This yarn did not arrive until the beginning of December. I ordered it in the beginning of October. I don't know if this is anyone else's experience with that website, but didn't work well. The customer service was very kind and apologetic, but I still paid full price for the yarn, and it took over 2 months for it to show up. And it was a different dye lot, which I knew I was going to get. But yeah, I was very disappointed in the amount of time that it took, only because the website said that they had fast shipping. But eventually there was they said it was a mix-up with the distributor. I was kind of hoping I'd get a discount or something there, but I didn't. But as you can see, it is not the same. So the front, I think it almost looks okay because it's like an intentional accent. If it had been like one sleeve or something, it'd be pretty weird. The whole body of the sweater is the same, and then this ribbing is a different color. But I think it works. It's okay, and I really love this. I've been getting a lot of wear out of this. Like I said, I am not a bulky weight knitter. This is a bulky weight yarn, and obviously color work kind of doubles up the warmth factor. But because it's a cardigan, it's not too stifling, and I just really like it. And I don't usually make things in blue either, and I just think it works. I really enjoyed it. And the pattern was super fun until I ran out of yarn. But I think the only modification I made is that Andrea Mowry's, she knits the collar first and then does the ribbing off of it. So like in hers, this ribbing goes all the way up, and then the collar's been made first and then the ribbing. I did the ribbing up to here and then picked up the collar off of it. I thought that looked a little neater. I wasn't sure what her design choice was there, but that's, I think, the only thing I really modified, other than maybe some stitch counts to make, or the row counts to make the yarn chicken work on the front end. That was kind of a longer ramble, but I wanted to talk about that one in detail because, yeah. So basically I ended up, for the actual photo shoot that we did mid-November, I pushed it off as long as I could, but I tried to order Black Friday deal Christmas cards and get them mailed out in a reasonable amount of time. So I ended up doing, with a tiny little weensy bit of yarn that I had left, I have a picture, a really skinny button band. It's just like a front edge ribbing, really skinny, and then I took some of this yellow and just single crocheted to finish off the unfinished collar, and then I wore a shawl with it to cover it up. But then once it arrived in December, I finished it off, and I've been wearing it since. We made it work, but none of my family got matching sweaters. So now I have a bulk amount of this of yarn, and I'm going to work on a sweater for my son, and he will still be able to wear it. Hopefully I make it a large enough size for next fall as well. But that's another podcast episode for another day. That is my throwback. That is the longest part I will talk about. Then real quick, I made a baby shower gift for sister of cousin with chickens. And I made, again, some booties that are that same booty pattern from Innistrict. I think that's how we say that correctly. I didn't modify the pattern, but I did add the crocheted flowers on the front. Those are my own. I made some little thumbless mitts, like the no scratch your face, don't claw out your eyeballs, baby mitts, to match. And that was no pattern. I just self-drafted those because I've made them for my kids. And then the hat is a really adorable pattern, which is also free, I believe. And it's called the Newborn Top Knot Hat. Newborn Top Knot. I think it's just Newborn Top Knot. And it's by Amanda Murphy. I'm getting tired here. Amanda Murphy on Ravelry. And it's a really great baby shower gift. So I made her a little set of those, and they live out in Colorado, so warmer, cozy things I thought was a good idea. And then we are into Christmas gifts. We're almost done. This is the thing that I don't have with me, but I am really, really proud of him. I haven't made a decent amigurumi in a really long time. I've done some character stuff for my husband, but if you've been with me long term, I started out kind of sort of in the character animal, character hat, amigurumi realm. I did a lot of that when I first started crocheting. I sold at markets, sold all sorts of licensed stuff I shouldn't have been selling. Since I've learned my lesson and don't do that anymore. And I also don't make them for anybody that I don't know because they are just so time consuming and tedious. But my son, if you're a follower of the podcast, my daughter loves owls. And my son apparently loves raccoons and snakes. Don't know where that came from, but he really loves him a raccoony. So my husband has a crocheted character of Rocket the raccoon that I made. Just my own self-drafted pattern. Again, don't sell it, don't make it, whatever. And my son had been carrying that around quite a bit. And he had one really large raccoon that he was trying to sleep with that didn't quite work. So I was like, okay, I'll make him a small-ish raccoon. And he came out so cute. And again, no pattern. I was just winging it. And I'm really proud. And it was kind of a happy accident the way that I made his tail. He stands up. His tail like awkwardly curves down and he can stand. And I made him a little sweater out of some naturally dyed orange yarn from Onion Skins. He really likes orange as well. So he's just a really sweet little acrylic scrap raccoon. And he sleeps with him. And he's adorable. Both my son and the raccoon together. So I'm really proud of that. And we'll never make another one, but that one came out really awesome. So that was a Christmas gift. There's also, where did you go? Another yarn in that fiber, another item in that Fiber for the People yarn. This ended up being part of the photo shoot because it coordinated. This is for my son. This is actually, I believe, the adult medium or large size. My son has a very large noggin. He is 2, but he got big brains. Like 99th percentile head or something. So this fits him. It's very long and folded up, but we just, kind of brim it up, and then his ears are extra cozy, and it looks just beautiful on him. This is the classic ribbed hat by Pearl Soho. The only modification that I made to this, other than making it a large size for my toddler, is I did it all in double twisted ribs. So it is reversible because I knew I was going to fold it up, so I was twisted ribbing the knits and the pearls on a fingering weight hat on a countdown to a photo shoot. So I thought that was pretty impressive while moving. But I love the finish of this decrease on the top. Why are we not focusing? Because it's red. I think it looks really beautiful. It's like a spiral, like, I don't know, candy or something. But I've made this hat a bunch of times for both my son and myself, and my husband too. This is the first time I've done twisted rib on it, but I'm very happy with that. And I used up most of that Fiber for the People way. I am so sorry. I am out of practice. I am tired. It is late. Fiber for the People colorway. That was originally from my Fields cardigan design. So that was some special yarn, and yeah, I can now match with my son with this sweater, and then also my Fields cardigan, and also my Scarfie Shawl. So we can all be very coordinated in that way. And then for my daughter, oh no, those are socks. So I guess I'm done. That brings us to roughly 31 items. Like I said, I'm going to try to film a box of socks 2024 of all the socks that I made for both my daughter and myself. My husband and son didn't get me socks last year. But yeah, that's all roughly 31-ish items that I made in 2024. The video was probably a little more scattered than I wanted it to be, but I'm just trying to get back into the rhythm of filming and sitting in front of a camera and talking about my stuff. Thank you again. Quick breakdown. Pretty evenly distributed between the knitting and the crocheting. I believe that I knit 16 items and I crocheted 15. And again, I may have forgotten something in there in the move and whatnot, but I think this is the most of it. I went through my photos and my Instagram and all that. 9 were garments, 12 were accessories, 2 were amigurumi, and then 16 were gifts, and I'm including anything that I didn't make for myself, so including my kids. Some were large, some were small. And then I have a little breakdown of yarn weight, like a graph of yarn weights that I used. I'm definitely always, I love fingering weight yarn. It is my favorite for both knit and crochet. I have 11 items that I made with fingering weight. I have 2 that were sport-ish weight, 8 that were DK. Oh no, I think it's 9 that were DK because I missed some before. 4 that were worsted weight, and then 4 that were bulky weight. Does that add up? I'm not sure. Those are the tally marks I've got. Either way, I used a lot of yarn. I used a lot of scraps. I used a lot of stash, and I made a lot of things. For kind of a chaotic end of the year, everything started out pretty good, but then it got real crazy August on. I think I made a lot. It's not a competition. I'm a very competitive person, but I think 31 items is pretty good. And I'm going to put in a quick little collage of things that I sewed. I am in no place to do a video about what I sewed. And again, I didn't use any patterns, and it's all just very practice stuff from thrift stores and scrap stash and just trying to figure out sewing. Maybe I'll get good at it in the future and it will be a regular feature on the podcast. I know I talked about it here and there last year, but just trying to learn. Don't know what I'm doing. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me. I definitely need some more practice getting back into this, and I have no idea how long this video is going to be. So thank you for your grace in allowing me to try filming again. I've been doing this for like 3+ years now, and I feel like this is the first time I've done it. So yeah. And it's nice to sit down with you again. At some point I might do a tour of the new space, but it's like a nook in our basement, which incorporates other parts of our home as well. So I don't really love a home tour, but I might do a yarn area tour when I get fully settled and finished on how I want it to be. But for right now, this is what I got. Thank you for joining me. I am really hoping to get that box of socks out. I am really hoping to get another podcast out somewhere January, early February, but we'll see. Hopefully everything, audio, lighting, and whatnot. Again, new space, adjusting. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for liking, following, subscribing, and all of that. I will see you all soon in some sort of a video somewhere. It is good to be back, and I would appreciate any interaction, any sharing, anything that kind of bumps this back up to me being in existence on the internet. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time, whenever that is. I can almost promise you I won't accidentally buy another house, but who knows what else will happen. See you guys soon.